It's time for another Dice Tower review with the Chief, Bart Brunsheen.
Hey, it's the Chief from the Dice Tower. Today we're going to talk about Castaways, also known as Naufragos. Yellow is putting it out, but also Homo Ludicius. I believe I've got that right. So it handles 1 to 4 players. I love the idea that it works in the 1. And it's a story-based game about being a castaway. Now, a lot of people are comparing this with Robinson Crusoe. Yes, I mean, you're dealing with the same topic or genre. And oddly enough, I would say Robinson Crusoe's a little bit thinkier, a little bit puzzler. More of a gamer's game, I think. And if I'm talking to a layman, I kind of say that it is kind of like the movie Castaway. There's a heartfelt problem there. It's difficult. It's raw at times. And I say Castaways is more like Swiss Family Robinson. It's a fun romp that tells you a story. And the story is what it's about. Let's go in and take a look, and I'll show you how the story is going to unfold. All right, I'm going handheld. Here's the box of Castaways. And what you see is exactly what you get. You're going to be exploring this island that you've just been shipwrecked on. So first things first, and I'm going to work through each of these. These are your little survivors. You're going to have a whole deck, and each role will come with both a male and a female counterpart. I'm not going to go through all the roles, but just to give you an idea, you've got this gal here is Lucky. You've got a cook who's going to be able to preserve some of the food for you as you go through. You've got a hunter. She's going to have a better chance of finding her way back or his way back when you go on explorations. And you got a tough guy who basically just gets 1 extra little health point, which brings me to these. You're going to track basically your energy level through these boxes. You can also take wounds that are going to end up stacking on here, and I'll pull one of those in and I'll show you those in a second just to kind of show you the feel for it. And then these little meeples are going to be guys that you're going to be able to use in a worker placement fashion to do different things on the island. All right, you're going to track injuries that you receive with these white cubes, and you're going to track traumas with these black cubes, and I'll explain how they work. If you ever go down to 0 and you're required to use some energy, you will take an injury. You can also get injuries throughout the game. I'm not going to tell you how because sometimes it's surprising, but let's just say you trip over a log and you hurt yourself. It'll tell you, take an injury. Whenever you have an injury, you have a chance to rest in the game so that you can refresh and bring your energy levels back up. But obviously it's blocking you from going up to your full level of 6 levels of energy. So you'd be stuck. Now, if you ever take a whole bunch of injuries and you get down to one at the 0 level, it'll turn into a trauma. There are also cards that'll turn injuries into traumas. The difference is that you can actually rest and remove a trauma, an injury, but traumas can never be removed. Once they take a spot, they'll stay there forever. You've got basically a weather chart. When it's raining, you're not going to be able to keep your fire going, and it's going to cost you more energy to do things. If it gets super, super hot, it's going to cost you more energy to do things. This deck here is going to be your time tracker. When this deck's exhausted, if you haven't been rescued from the island, you're basically doomed. Or you'll live there as a sweet, Swiss Family Robinson and never have to worry about life again. These cards are pretty cool. The cards are going to tell you to move that weather track up or down. It's going to tell you a little deal about these little crates that are going to wash up, which I'll explain in a second. And it'll have some little flavor text, sometimes hurting you, sometimes helping you, sometimes just immersing you in the moment. And at the end of the game, when we get to the exploration board, I'll show you these are little requirements that you have for being rescued. So we'll just kind of look at these. After you reveal this, it just goes on the deck. So just know this is a timekeeper deck based on the number of people that are playing. These are different places where you can place your little workers, and each of these is going to cost energy. So you can see -2 energy. So if I go here and there was a crate there, I'm going to be able to basically look through this deck and find things that have washed ashore based on the shipwreck. Food, it's going to allow you to get food here that's going to be worth different values. You don't know how much those values are going to be. Coming over here, you can always rest. You'll see there's these rest areas, and this means you can go to camp. I'm going to show you that board in a little bit. This is chopping wood. You are always needing wood down in your storage bin. And so you'll come up here, again, you spend the number of energy that's listed. Multiple people can take this track and you'll collect wood. This is writing in your diary. There are little diary or story points that you can use. This is what you have to do to actually start a fire. You want to start a fire because it'll actually help you get back some of your energy, and if you don't have a fire, you'll lose energy. Again, you have rest, and you have the campsite that you can always go to. And these are very cool little areas. This is going to help you build a giant help sign that's going to be on the beach. One thing that you're going to need to probably get you rescued. This is going to be a huge giant bonfire, same thing. You're going to spend energy based on some things that are on the cards. Huge thing here is there are 4 levels of shelters that you can build. So shelter 1 is going to be, you're going to require 2 pieces of wood that have been put in your storage bin, and it's going to take 3 energy. And if you get this built, instead of just sleeping on the beach, which is not very efficient and only recovers you if you rest, you're only going to get 1 energy back and get rid of 1 of your injury cubes. If you have this in, you see this little lean-to now has a dice roll effect, and you can actually get back 2. And what's cool is after you build that, you can spend 2 wood and 4 energy, and now you can build one that's actually got a roof, and you can see how it gets a little bit better, and so on. You got a little shack here, and then by the end, you've got a full Swiss Family Robinson house thing going on. Who doesn't want to live there? Come on. All right, you can even heal 2 of your injuries. So there's little things you're going to be doing along the way. Again, there are areas where you can rest. Again, when you rest here, you get to take advantage of whatever type of shelter you've built. All right, here's your camp board. It gets seated right off the bat with some things that are always in there. This is like working really hard. You're going to use extra energy, but you can do stuff here. You can find personal food, these little grubs. You can always go fishing, and looking at these, sometimes you won't get any fish, sometimes you'll get 1, or sometimes you get 2. You're always needing food, and as you play along, other little things you find during your explorations will come into your camp. So as you expand your exploration, let's see if I can do it without giving anything away. Maybe you find a crab place on shore that's great, and you'll have an extra card that comes in here and allows you to use an action to come in here and get some extra food. So this is your camp, and there'll be little cards that'll get added in, and there's some that are seated in that are going to help you do little things. Really cool. So I didn't say if you take this action here, this means you're going to go on an exploration, and you can go with multiple players. It's helpful to go with multiple players. All right, the exploration board. A couple things going on here, and I want to show it. First of all, there is this whole deck of 0 numbers. You select out a certain amount of these, I want to say 9 off the top of my head, and they get seeded in to these decks up here. What these are they're kind of like chapter generators. I don't want to show you all of these, but these cards will end up being discovered as you move through this island, and it'll lead you to this huge deck of cards, which are numbered 1 through 105. And these cards are going to be kind of like your paragraph book or your storybook that you would go to. You're going to pull the card, it's going to tell you something's happened or give you another source of food or whatever. I don't want to ruin things by telling you what they are. So here's how this works. When you're on your worker placement board over here and you go exploring, depending on who's exploring, all your figures are here, but let's say Green and I both took the exploring action. Well, we haven't explored anywhere on the island, so we're just going to be doing the beach level, which corresponds with all these yellow cards. Now, as we move into the forest, we'll pull from this deck, and as we get into the mountains, we're going to pull from here. And our goal is to get to the top of this mountain and then attempt to signal ships that might be passing. This little thing here is going to make it harder for us to get back. We're basically exploring, going far afield, and there's also little footprints that are going to move us down this line. Our goal here is twofold. We want to either exhaust this beach deck, which means we've searched everything on the beach and everybody can now move to the green level, or we want to move by the foot markers up into the next zone, which allows the individuals to also start searching this deck. Now, the key is you're on a push your luck system. As you turn these cards, there's going to be little markers like I just showed you that are going to show a map. It might say +1 or +2. You're going to move this little cube up, because what this is at any point in time you can say, all right, I'm done searching the deck, because if there's two of us exploring, I'm going to search. Then the other player is going to search, and then I'm going to search, and it's going to go back and forth, but there's a lot of these little things that are going to move this cube up. And when it comes time for us to say, you know what, we've gone far enough, we need to get back to camp. Maybe I've fallen over that log and hurt myself and I'm getting low on energy. I now have to roll 2 6-sided die. And all I have to do in this case would be equal or exceed the number 7. And if I do, I found my way back to camp. If I don't, I am lost, and I have to put this little lost marker on here. Now, the group can help me out one last time, but if you get lost here, unless you're packing some personal food, you're going to end up taking yet another injury, and you're going to be wasting more of your worker placement turns on the very next round trying to get back to camp. This is delicious. All right, Castaways. I love this game. I really, really like this game. The deck of cards I've shown you, the way the story builds and unfolds, the fact that I think it's hopefully going to be supported so that you can add sets of cards to change the decks up. I mean, this thing could run and run and run with expansions, and I would love it. It really just tells a story. It's such a good family game. My wife and my son Bo played it, and he was excited. We're looking at treasure. You know, he's doing the real basic worker placement stuff, which is so well laid out, and it feels like what you're doing. You're going on these expeditions that are leading you through these cards, which is, you know, I don't know, it's just so thematic. You feel, or at least I feel like I'm actually on an expedition when we go to the expedition decks and reveal stuff. But Castaways, which I expected to like, I love it. It's total story. It's just, it kind of reminds me of Tales from Arabian Nights without the book you're going through. Just these cards bring such a rich element to the game. Fun, play, fun, and I love the exploration that you're doing here. I really feel like I'm exploring. So there you go. Chief from the Dice Tower, Castaways, love it. See you guys.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.